Welcome to After Hours with Audie. I'm your host, Patio Joe, and I'm joined here tonight with my boy, Paulie D. This is wisetake.com's weekly game-by-game preview show for the NFL. Paulie, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing, man. Glad to see you're all right. I got a little nervous when someone on Twitter was like, Joe, I'll send you a plane ticket to get out of Cali. But guess that guy's just a little weirdo. Glad to see you doing good. And, I'm sweating a little bit of basketball. So if you see me look away and get excited, something good might have happened. And I'm looking forward to tackling this football slate with you because I've been a little jammed up with basketball this week. I've only done a little bit of research. I think I know a bunch of chalk this week. So I'm curious to get your input as well.
Yeah, it's been a crazy week of wind here in Los Angeles. And that's my boy at DFS Great again. He is a Twitter personality, to say the least. He is a very loyal person, I'll tell you that much. He when Puerto Rico had its hurricanes, he went down there and helped many times. So he is quite the person. He causes ruckus on Twitter, but if something happens, man, that guy is in your corner. So I thank him for reaching out. But everything's fine here in LA. We should have wind for the next few days, but you never know. It could be a fire could pop up in our area at any time. But yeah, this slate here this week is like I said before before we started, and I said last night, this slate has no premier players on it. We just had the Saints and the Falcons play, so that gives out Julio and of course Kamara, which thank you, I had him on my main seasonal team, so he is now done. Then we have Brady playing on Sunday night. We have the Steelers playing on Sunday night, and we have the Patriots playing on Monday night. So it's like there's no Bell, no Brown, no Brady, unless you want to play those big slates. But yeah, so it's gonna be. I think it's pretty obvious where the chalk's gonna go this week, and I think there's pretty good pivots all around. And at this time of year, I've found that lineup construction is fairly easy. Like, the research really isn't that much to do. We know who to attack. We know what situations are going to be good, and we go at it.
Yep.
So, that being said, let's just get into the first game. Get on going. If anybody has questions here in the chat, just hit us up, and we'll answer 2 weeks of the playoffs. I think are good talking points. So, anyways, let's get into the first game. We have the Chicago Bears traveling just a little bit north to take on Andy Dalton, AJ Green, and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, I'm just trying to pull up the spread for that game.
Your camera is frozen.
Is it? Right. All right. Let me do some troubleshooting as well. And just Bengals. So we got the Bengals -6.5. Very, very low over-under. It opened at 37. It is up to 38.5. I think the most popular value play is on the Bengals side there, Gio Bernard. You can definitely take a look at AJ Green, who, is becoming the target monster now. And you could even run a little triple stack, although I wouldn't recommend that in a low-scoring game. But, Bengals looking good. They need to win. They're at home. I think they'll win this game pretty easily. And on the Bears side, maybe one of the value receivers you could take a stab at, but I don't really have much interest in the Bears side. And Bengals, Gio, you got to decide if you want that or not. In tournaments, he's going to be popular. In cash, he should be like 80 or 90% owned. But that's really it. Gio and AJ Green.
Yeah. AJ Green is a grid play. He had 16 targets on Monday night. He had 9 the week before, or eight the week before that. 3 touchdowns last 3 games. He's a pretty good play at his price, and I think it's a pretty good cash play too. Probably not my number one cash plays, but I think it's a pretty good value. Bernard is, if Mixon's out, I think Gio Bernard is just like the free square of the week, to where you just put him in your cash games and go. You can go all the other places or wherever else you want to go. Opens up so much value. I do like Dontrell Inman. If your news this week, basically the whole back 7 of this Bengals defense starters are going to be out. They're hurt. They're injured or concussed. So Kilpatrick, Pac-Man Jones, the linebackers. The one safety got his suspension overturned, so he'll be playing. But I think
right.
So that leaves. I think Inman is a decent value. I think Jordan Howard is also a very, very risky GPP play. Nobody likes him, but this is right when he gets 25 carries and he scores a touchdown and he's very, very productive. So I wouldn't have a lot of them, but keep them in the back of your mind. Not really on Dalton, but Green and Bernard definitely in cash. What do you think about the defense? Because I think people are going to go on the Bengals defense this week, and I don't want that Bengals defense the way that it's injured.
Yeah, I mean, against a rookie quarterback, I'd have a little bit of interest, but not with the injuries, and they don't really make a ton of plays. They don't blitz that much. They're not getting a ton of interceptions, so like it'd be a real like GPP dart that you're praying for like a defensive touchdown. So I'm not interested there at all.
Yeah, it's I think it's almost, to me, I feel like it's a donkey play. It's one of those plays where at first look you're like, oh, Bears coming on the road, Bengals coming off of a tough loss, but they're whatever. But then when you hear about all the injuries, I just can't do it. Even with Trubisky and all the problems, I just think it's better to just pay up for other defenses, because defense this week is kind of tricky, and we'll get into it, but I think it's kind of tricky. Let's move on to the next game, which is a very, very interesting game. It could be, I think it's going to be a low scoring. Let's see. Case Keenum, Adam Thielen, Minnesota Vikings traveling to Carolina to take on Cam and the Panthers.
Yeah, so let me see what the line is on that game. I do have some interest in some spots in this game. My computer is going very, very slow right now. But all right, here we go. I have the Vikings as 1.5 point favorites, and the over/under opened at 42, and it's down to 40.5. The Vikings. They opened as 2.5 point favorites, and it's down to 1.5. So, line seems to be moving in favor of Carolina a bit. I have interest in Stephon Diggs again here. I believe that the Carolina run defense is strong, and they play a zone defense, and I think Stephon Diggs will be the guy that can, find openings in the secondary. Last week's game was weird against the Falcons. They did throw to him. They did throw to Thielen. They just didn't do too much with it. The tight end, stole a touchdown, and the game just was relatively slower pace. And I think you're right. You're going to find something similar here. Minnesota's defense is elite, and Carolina is pretty shorthanded offensively. So, I think if Carolina gets ahead, they're really going to try and control the clock. And Minnesota, although, Carolina's run defense is good and Minnesota likes to run, I think that they're going to win with the short pass game. So I don't mind going back to McKinnon and going back to Stephon Diggs. But that's really the bulk of my interest here. And I think these defenses are interesting, but I don't think I'll go to either. So really it's just going to be Stephon Diggs and McKinnon for me. And, the McCaffrey's just a little too expensive for a game. I don't think there's a ton of touchdown upside in.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. On FanDuel, McCaffrey's sandwich right in the middle of a couple guys that I really like, and I'm gonna go there more. I don't really have a good read on this game. I think that Minnesota is going to come in there, go into Atlanta like they went into Atlanta and just win like they won last week. What was it, 14-9 or something? It was something
Um,
like that,
I
right?
think
It
it
was
was a
some.
little higher scoring, but yeah, and we saw the Falcons again today against New Orleans, a game that's normally a
Hmm.
shootout, finished 20-17. Yeah, you're right, 14-9.
Hmm.
So
I
and
just
Atlanta's defense is nowhere near Carolina's.
I see both defenses, if anything, being in play as sleeper GPPs that people won't really even look at. I can see the Minnesota Vikings defense just harassing Cam all day. Cam won't be able to go to Funchess
Yep, not
because
not not with
Rhodes,
Rhodes.
not with Rhodes. If Greg Olson's going to be playing, but that doesn't mean anything. I think this year is pretty much a lost year with Olson.
Yep.
So that leaves McCaffrey, and the Vikings cover guys out of the backfield. We didn't hear anything of Coleman or Freeman last week.
Yep.
I just feel like this game is an ugly game. There's no reason to play anybody in this game, I don't think. Even Thielen, I don't think there is.
Nah, like Thielen's too expensive. Diggs is
Mm-hmm.
cheap. That's why I can take a shot on him.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, both these teams, Minnesota's in first place comfortably, but they're looking for the first round bye. And Carolina is a half game behind New Orleans after the night, so they could get a tie for first in the South Division. Like I see it kind of being like a Pittsburgh Baltimore AFC kind of game.
Yeah.
Tough defenses, not high scoring, teams that both want to win, very
Mm.
physical, and just not a ton of fantasy goodness. And but if you did want to play somebody, it'd be the somebody that's cheap. So Diggs is definitely value. He definitely has 8 catches for a touchdown or two. Possibly you can pass on the Carolina pass defense if you can pick apart the zone. So
Mm.
I don't mind taking a shot there. But yeah, I agree. There's really not a game that you need to play too much of, and I really don't think you want to play either the defenses either.
Yeah. I feel like Stephon Diggs is going to be on your end of the year. Why can't I quit you team?
He might
It's
be, but it's only been the last 2 weeks that I've played him. I
he's like
just
your cargo of football. McCaffrey is your
uh,
cargo. Diggs. Even Hunt. I mean, Hunt's another thing. I mean, I'm a Hunt mark too.
yeah, you
So
put me on Hunt, and how could you not after his first few games think that all
yeah.
right, this guy's amazing? Last week, like I think he got a little bit like unlucky, like variance kind of played a factor there. Like the Chiefs were able to score in the first half on like 3 plays, 2 touchdowns, and it just like eliminated his potential for carries. But I didn't mind the way he did look running the ball. And that's a game that we'll get to. But yeah, Stephon Diggs is a Paulie D kind of hard on player that I have, but I do believe that he's worth some attention.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. That's enough about this game. But let's move on. And this next game is going to be definitely a big talking point game. Why is it? But I think weather's going to be involved, and it might screw everybody. But the Green Bay Packers and Brett Hundley traveling to Cleveland, Ohio to take on Deshaun Kaiser and God playing wide receiver now for the Browns by the name of Josh Gordon and the Cleveland Browns. What do you
Yeah.
got?
That's a great point. This time of year, weather can really impact the pace and just game flow of games. I hadn't even remembered to look at that, and that's like one of the areas that I focus on a lot in all sports. So let me just take a look at what you're talking about.
I heard it's going
Uh,
to be snowing.
Cold and breezy, temps will hover around freezing with sustained winds about 15 miles per hour. That's a bump down to kickers and a slight bump down to the deep passing game. If the winds start ticking up higher, it would be a severe bump to the passing game. So, yeah, I mean, playing in the freezing cold, that definitely impacts the game. For receivers, I played receiver in college, and in cold games, your hands just aren't as loose. It's very stiff. The ball hurts catching it. And add the win factor in there with an inaccurate quarterback on Cleveland. It's interesting how popular Josh Brown, God, as you said,
You mean
is,
Gordon? Yeah.
Josh Gordon is sounding.
Yeah.
I mean, I was impressed. I did get to watch some of that game last week, and he did look great out there. But yeah, cold weather at high ownership in tournaments. I don't know if he's a guy that I'm going to have too much interest in. This is like a tough game for me to say who I think after further research there will be a Green Bay receiver that's in play. They're all pretty cheap. I don't think it's going to be Devontae Adams, because the Browns have the cornerback. His name slipped. McCourtney.
Devin McCourty.
Devin McCourty. That's pretty solid. And if he's going to follow him, then maybe this is a bounce back spot for Jordy Nelson, or you take a shot on Cobb. They're both really cheap on a PPR site. Could be decent. You can pass on Cleveland. You really can't run on them that well. So a game I probably won't have much exposure to, with the exception of maybe a cheap Packers receiver to get different.
This game, I can see the Browns winning this game. However, this game is the biggest game of the year to the Packers. They know if they win this game, they still have a chance at the playoffs, and they have Rodgers coming back next week. If they lose this game, Rodgers probably won't come back. That's what I've been hearing through the grapevine.
Okay, so
another thing is
they're 6-6, tied with Detroit. In terms of the division, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams would be ahead of them, but yeah, they would have a shot as like a wild card if they lose.
Exactly.
They're probably out. Yeah, you're definitely right. That's interesting.
And they still got games against the Vikings and Carolina coming up. So those are 2 teams that are ahead of them.
And Minnesota. I mean,
Vikings
and Detroit. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So they have 3 games of teams that are ahead of them. So this is a really, really big game to them.
Yep.
I think Jamal Williams is in play. I think that you can run on the Browns. That was the beginning of the year. Last few weeks they've been getting run on. Last week Gordon ran on them pretty well. 2 weeks ago, the team that they played, they ran on to. They've been giving up a lot of yards on the ground the last 3 weeks. So I'm not saying go all in on Williams, but I'm just saying don't be shy. His price is decent. Don't like Hundley. Don't like Kaiser. Njoku, I think, is going to be fool's gold just because the Packers have done pretty good against the tight end, even though Cameron Brate last week scored 2 touchdowns. He had 2 catches, and that's all he did.
Yep.
So let's not. That's chasing points. Even though Njoku did look well and maybe play him down the road, if you're going to play anybody in this and you want to make money and win in this game, I say go for Corey Coleman. That's the guy that if he goes off, you go ahead of everybody because everybody's going to be on Gordon.
Yeah, so I tried that in like a 4 p.m. slate last week. He didn't have a single catch.
No,
but
he didn't do
4
very
targets. Well. 2 of them were in the red zone. It's definitely a deep tournament kind of play, like Millie Maker. Nothing small field, but yeah, I tried that. Didn't work last week, but I think game theory wise, that's the right approach in large field tournaments.
Yeah, I saw Gordon last week. I was there. I was at the game, and he looked really good. I'm not saying he didn't. I just feel like everybody's got to hold off because all of a sudden he goes from 1 week where he gets a couple passes against a good corner, and all of a sudden he's chalk, cash game, chalk, safe.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, I can't buy that, when there's other options that are just as tempting to me in that same price range where he's 6,700. It's a good price, but a guy that hasn't played football in 3 years has 1 week and all of a sudden he's 6,700. That to me, I feel like that's just a little bit high priced right now. I mean, I'm not sold. He looked good. Diggs is the same price.
Yep.
That's why I love going there. Everybody's going to go to Gordon. Everybody's going to go to Gordon, not go to Diggs.
Absolutely.
So Um, play Gordon. I'm not saying don't play him. I think he could. I think he's going to score this week, but he could have 3 for 40 for the touchdown. Okay, I can live with that.
Yeah, me
you know,
too.
it could be a snow game.
Yep.
He gets his touchdown back home. Everybody wants to see it. He's got a good matchup. He gets it, but he doesn't do much else because it's a sloppy game, and they're still the Cleveland Browns. Remember that, people.
Yep.
Another guy I might like, Duke Johnson. The Packers have been giving up the third most catches to the running backs the last 4 weeks, so maybe a few balls out of the backfield on DK. Maybe I could see it, but nothing huge. Just kind of thrown out there, another flyer. I think we got pretty much this game. Move on. Check the weather, though. That's going to be big. Let's move on to the next game. It's one of the biggest games of the week. I think we're going to want to have a piece of this game. I hate saying it, but to me, it's like a win-win game. Whoever wins this game, great. Whoever loses this game, great. Derek Carr, Oakland Raiders, traveling to Kansas City to take on Alex Smith and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah. As a Chargers fan, who would you rather have win this game? Oakland?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
The reason why is knowing the schedule coming up is we have Oakland coming to Los Angeles, which is essentially a home game for the Raiders. But the last game of the year. But the Chargers the next week on Saturday on a short week have to go to KC. So I'd rather have them coming off of, I don't know. Would you rather have them coming off of a loss or a win, on a short week? I guess it depends on the psyche of the players, I guess. I don't know.
For me, I think you don't want to play KC in the playoffs if you guys were to both make it in KC. So I'd rather have Oakland win and kind of put KC out of the race a little bit.
Yeah, well, if KC loses these next 2 games at home, they're out. Yeah. But I hate to say it, though. I mean, people are going to shoot us. You're going to shoot us. You're going to shoot us. You're going to shoot us. And maybe it's not, but Kareem Hunt's got 3 great matchups coming up, and I don't care. They got 2 good matchups at home, like teams they can be run on. The guy never gets the volume. If he got 20 carries and 60 yards, then you can tell me he's not doing very.
6 receptions. Yeah.
No, but he's
right. I hear you. Yeah.
He's not even getting 20 carries. He's getting 9 carries. It's okay. It's kind of hard to get 9 carries.
Yeah, no, like I said, he got hit by variance last game. The Chiefs scored on 2 plays in the first drive to Kelsey, and then the second drive right off a turnover, the same thing. So they're at 14 points, and then the Jets, were keeping up pace with them. It was just not a game where he got enough opportunity. And this game's definitely going to be one of the more popular spots on the entire slate. A Chiefs stack essentially won all the money last week. Kelsey looked great. Hill looked great. Smith looked great. Smith had a 70-yard run on 1 play. So I definitely think it's going to be popular. For me, I'm going to be fading the entire stack. I won't have Alex Smith. I am going to give Kareem Hunt another shot. I just think that he's going to be so low owned. His price is a little bit higher than last week at $7,200. And, tough decision on Kelsey, because he's 1,000 more this week, but he just Oakland's terrible against tight ends, and he's been doing so good this year, but his ownership's going to be so high. You were saying before the show that he's just so easy to get to, so for me, the way that I'm looking at things this week is, would I rather play Hopkins or AJ Green or Kelsey? And I'm going to go with the receivers, and I'm going to punt or find the best value play at tight end I can and try and differentiate. In terms of Alex Smith, I won't be going there. I think he's too expensive now. I'd gladly pay $400 more for Carson Wentz. And Tyreek Hill's interesting, but again, the price is high on a guy that you're going to need touchdowns for. It's not like he gets, 12, 15 targets. I'm really probably off the Chiefs, and, I'll either have a nice advantage over the field that they dud, and Hunt does well, or I'll know I'm done pretty early. On the other side, I think Carr's going to be popular too. I don't like playing him on the road, especially in a place like Kansas City. Depending on the receiver situation, if they're both back, then you can kind of take your pick. Obviously, Amari Cooper went nuts against his team a few weeks ago, but Crabtree's the guy I'd have interest in regardless. And if Cooper's out, you got to have interest in Crabtree here. Just the targets and the relationship with Carr and Marcus Peters is out. So for me, it's going to be Crabtree. I'll have some ownership of him. It's not like an all-in spot for me, but for his price at 7,100, that's a pretty good value spot, I think. And that's really probably all the interest I have here. It's probably Crabtree and Hunt.
Tyreek Hill has 5 plays of over 30 yards against the same Raiders team in his career. He's only been like 2 or 3 years in the league. So he's a boom or bust player. He's not a cash play. He's a GPP play. I definitely see him being viable. You can pair him with the Chiefs defense if you really want to get crazy like that.
I like doing that. I think you were the one who told me last week, though, that his numbers are significantly better on the road.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, but I still, it's a Kareem Hunt. I'm going to go down singing ship, but he could have a great game this week.
Yeah.
And go off. They just got to give him the opportunity. And Crabtree right now is one of my top receivers, especially in cash. Marcus Peters is out. Their secondary is already terrible. They let Robbie Anderson and Jermaine Kearse just rip them up.
Yeah.
Crabtree and Cooper are better.
Yep.
Both. It's a must-win game for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a very, very important game. I'm not going to have any Carr, but I could see you playing him.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Cook, you're dead to me. Travis Kelce, like I said, it's easy to just get up to him.
Yeah.
And play him if you want to. So you can pick or choose, but remember, guys, he scored 2 touchdowns and he had 0 catches in the second half. He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So
Evan Ingram killed this Raiders team last week for the Giants, but on ownership alone, he's only projected for 20% on FanDuel. I think it's going to be much higher. But like I said, I'll go play Hopkins and AJ Green before I pay $8K for him at high ownership.
Well, the news that just broke with Zach Ertz being cleared of the concussion protocol.
Yeah.
So he's going to be playing. So that's going to take a little bit of ownership away from Kelce. So we got to keep that in mind. Mm-hmm. And then you have, those are the 2 up there. Then you got to go down about $1,000 before you get to Graham. So,
yeah.
You can play Kelce, you can play Hill, you can play the stack if you want. It's going to be a popular stack, I think. And I don't think it's one that you.
No, you don't do that stack at high ownership. Then it doesn't help you really, And
last week it helped you.
Yeah, it was like 2%. Like Smith was like 2% owned. Kelce was decently owned, but Gronk was like the popular tight end, and Tyreek Hill was like 3% owned. So, now they're all going to be, over 10 at a minimum, and Kelce and Smith I expect to be like 20s and 30s.
All right. Next game, I think the biggest thing about this game that the whole country is going to be worried about is how are Joe Buck and Troy Aikman going to get by not being able to call the Dallas Cowboys at New York Giants game, because the world might end if Troy Aikman and Joe Buck don't do a Dallas Cowboy game. God forbid. They might be out on the West Coast doing the Eagles and Rams this week. My God, are you kidding me? God, have to listen to that guy anymore do a Dallas Cowboy game. They make it seem like that team is like they're 6-6, and they talk about that team like they're 12-4. Like we don't care. Like, you hear us? We don't care.
So,
okay.
So which game are we talking about? The Cowboys game or the Eagles Rams game?
We're talking about Dallas at the Giants. Thank God. You know what? I'm going to the Charger game, so I might be in the car. So watch them do that game, and it's just going to be like, I'm going to give up, because that's supposed to be their number one crew. It's supposed to be Buck and Aikman, and if they do the Cowboys and Giants, It's
there's so much hype too around the Giants with Eli starting and, like Cowboys getting help. Like, of course, it's just like, it's definitely going to be the game. And this is an interesting spot. Like, the Giants opened up at +6 and they've moved up to +3.5. The over-under hasn't budged at 41. I think the Giants are going to come out motivated. They're at home against their rival, new coach, Eli. You could actually triple stack the Giants, Eli, a receiver, and Ingram. The Cowboys defense is not very good. I don't think I'd take a running back, though. Do you know if Lee's in for Dallas?
Yes, he's back.
He's playing. So, yes, I wouldn't play the running game. But I do expect the Giants not to lay down here and to try to win and to try to beat Dallas. So I don't mind, a cheap Giants stack. On the Dallas side, you can play Alfred Morris, but, I don't know how much upside he's got. Dez Bryant, he's been disappointing all year, but with Janoris Jenkins gone, he's in a pretty decent spot here. I think a Dak Dez stack is not a terrible idea, too. I think this game is going to actually kind of be higher scoring than the over-under projects. So I like the passing game on both sides, and I'm not really interested in the running games. And I that's it, yeah.
Yeah, I see Sterling Shepard. Let's not forget his connection with Eli. Before he went down, he had, against the Giants, let's see here, he had 11 receptions, 142 yards last time. No, against the Niners. My point is that Eli was playing, and then he had a migraine a few weeks, came back last week with Geno, put up 3 for 56, still got 6 targets. Now he's coming back with Eli. I like Sterling Shepard for cash. He's one of, and I'm not, if you want to pay down, if you need to, if you want to go up a little bit more at running back, Sterling Shepard is a good option tomorrow. On Sunday. Ingram's also a good option. Dez Bryant, Dak, I like that stack. Alfred Morris, I'm hearing a lot about him. He's going to be chalk. He's going to be a cash. To me, Dallas is built on their line. Ezekiel Elliott is Ezekiel Elliott because of the healthy Dallas line.
Yep.
We saw how good Dallas is when their line is functioning and healthy. Mm-hmm. That happened last week against the Redskins. They ran all over them with Alfred Morris.
Yep.
They're going to do that this week again.
It depends if they have a lead. If the Giants jump out to a lead, they're not going to run Morris like that. Like they had a pretty comfortable lead against the Redskins last week.
Okay, I don't. When has the Giants come out to a lead this whole year? About 14 or 7. I don't think they've ever been up by 17 points this whole year.
Yeah, I don't know about 17, but maybe 10. Maybe 10.
10 points, you're still running the ball with more. In the first, second quarter, I think.
Yeah, first and second quarter, but not in the second half. If they were down by
4, okay. That's the thing. I don't see. I think Dallas figured out the way that we can't put it all on Dak right now because teams will just rear back and they'll just blitz. So run the ball, and then Dak play action pass. And he was good last week. So I don't think I'd play Dak. I'd play a little Dez. Everybody seems like Witten because the Giants are so bad against tight ends. Last 2 weeks, Jared Cook to like 1 catch and Vernon Davis like 1 catch or 0 catches. So they've shored up something.
Yeah, Witten's not maybe on DraftKings I don't know his price, but on FanDuel you're not getting enough discount to where what's Witten's ceiling even if he gets 2 touchdowns maybe he'd have 4 catches for 50 yards. That's barely making value at his price. Witten's just not the receiver that he used to be. But I just actually plugged in the Manning, Shepard, Ingram triple with 2 mid-level priced kickers and defenses, and it leaves $8,000 for your 2 running backs and receivers. That's not bad. You can really fill up a pretty good team with that. I think it's interesting. I think the Giants are going to have a lot of emotion. I don't think Dallas' defense is that good. If you think Dallas is going to jump out to a lead, then the Giants will go back to Manning throwing 40 times. I think that's actually a decent DFS play this week. Probably going to be really low owned, and something I'm kind of interested in.
All right. Move on to let's go south to Houston to take on Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy G, taking on Tom Savage, DeAndre Hopkins, and the Houston Texans.
Yeah. So we have the Texans 2.5-point favorites, 44.5 over under. This is another game I do have a lot of interest in. Like when Deshaun Watson was quarterbacking, we saw Houston getting into shootout after shootout, and I think you're gonna find a similar scenario here. Like two bad teams and a bunch of scores. Some may come defensively, but I was impressed with Garoppolo. He didn't get any touchdowns, but they won the game, and I think that team's gaining momentum. And I was impressed with his stats in terms of throwing, completion percentage. Let me read them off. So he completed 26 of 37 passes for 293 yards, and he was only sacked twice against the Bears, which is a good defense. Houston is not. You get a ton of value by stacking up the San Fran side if you go with quarterback and cheap receiver and maybe a tight end, or quarterback Hyde and cheap receiver. And then on Houston, you have value plays in Anderson. You can take a look at the running back Lamar Miller here, because San Fran can be run on. I don't think I'd ever play Tom Savage, but Hopkins and Steven Anderson are good plays. Hopkins being expensive, but you can make it work. And Steven Anderson is probably one of the better value tight ends out there. 12 targets for like 3/4 of a game, 5 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown. On the San Fran side, Marquise Goodwin's in play. I like this game because, if you stack it up or, have a 2-man stack with Hopkins coming back, you have a lot of money left over for the rest of your team. And we've seen Houston get into a ton of shootouts here, and San Fran now has a capable quarterback. So I think it's going to be higher scoring than most, and a spot with a lot of good value for fantasy.
Yeah. The one guy that I'm hearing a lot about for cash this week is Lamar Miller. Mm-hmm. They're in the 6,000 range, and Lamar Miller going to get the rock. I think he's a donkey play.
I do too.
Last week, Carlos Hyde, he's the man going into Chicago. Or Jordan Howard at home against these same 49ers. Jordan Howard's going to get it 25 times.
Yep.
No problem.
They shut him down.
Right? No, got shut down, right?
Yep.
Week before then, Seahawks, right? No problem, right? No, they don't even have a run game.
With Ellington out, though, Lamar Miller may have more pass game at that price. He got maybe 15 carries for 56 yards against a bad run defense. And then he got 4 targets, caught all 4, and Ellington got 6 and caught 5. If those all become Miller, you could see 7 to 9 targets on DK. That's a big bump. And like I said, I think it's going to be high scoring. Miller's probably going to get a touchdown in this game.
All right. Let me talk more FanDuel. I see him more. If you want to argue he's more in the pass game, I can buy that. Let's talk more on FanDuel, which is more we want to run.
Okay.
And by the way, DeAndre Hopkins, lock him into your cash game. Just do it. He's 6,600 on FanDuel. For the same prices, I can get either Carlos Hyde, Samaje Perine, Jamal Williams, Marshawn Lynch. And Alfred Morris at 6,800.
Yeah.
To me, I feel like I don't feel like I need him. I feel like I can go other places in my cash games and get the same build and go just a little bit different. And I feel like the Niners have shored up the running game a little bit to where I don't need him.
Sure. They're the 29th ranked team against the run. But let's see what Houston's implied total is. I believe it's right around 20. If they're going to score 3 touchdowns, where are they coming from, right? So we'll give one to Hopkins.
Anderson. Steven Anderson. That's right. It's another player we need to talk about.
Okay. And then
Steven Anderson.
Where's the third one come from?
I mean, we can.
Like,
I mean, yeah.
You get pass interference on Hopkins at the goal line, and Lamar Miller run it in.
True.
At $6K, like I don't think it's a donkey play actually. Depending on what the ownership projection is, let me see what it is right now. It's obviously going to change. Both Ellington and even pass game on FanDuel, like 7 targets. That's 7 catches would be 3.5 points plus the yards. Like so, say it's 40 yards. That's 7.5 points on top of 50 yards rushing. Now you're at 12. Now you just need that one touchdown, and you're at 3x value. It's not the worst play, dude. Is projected for 15% ownership. I could actually I never play Lamar Miller, but I do think this game is going to shoot out. And you add one more touchdown on Dick Houston's tally, and I think he's got to be involved in some of it. It's not my favorite play. I'm not gonna fight you to death over it, but I think it's worth consideration, and we'll see by Saturday how we feel.
Yeah, no, I see your point. I feel like everybody was going to Jordan Howard last week.
Yeah.
And
that was like a 30% ownership situation.
I know.
Like 12 to 15 is still different.
Yeah, you're right. But, Steven Anderson.
Yeah.
4,500 on FanDuel. He's min price. He came in last week. Got 12 targets after Fedorovich got hurt, and I think he got a touchdown. Obviously Savage likes him. Bruce Ellington is on IR. Will Fuller is probably out. So everything that I've been hearing about this Anderson guy is he's a receiver. He's very athletic. And so just that he's playing tight end, don't just make it, he's a good player. And at his price, if you mean to tell me at his price at 4,500 and he's going to get 10 to 12 targets, I mean he was 5 for 79 and a touchdown last week. I mean, if he does that, thank you. I mean, come on. I mean, even just 5 for 79.
Yeah, no. Even without the touchdown.
Yeah.
But, he's definitely, like we said, where the touchdown's going to come. He was our second guy. I'm looking to see what he is on DraftKings.
Gotta be like 3K, maybe at the most.
He is 3,200. So, yeah, I'm definitely have solid interest in Steven Anderson on both sides.
Yeah, it's a good play. I've heard a lot of people talk about it. Just, the targets are going to be there. There's really nobody else, and they seem to really like him. And this time of year, you can really tell who's excelling in their offense. Tonight, if Kamara never got injured, they went to him. He got 3 catches in the first drive. You would imagine what that game would have been. Saints would have rolled probably if Kamara would have been healthy. So as you can see, I'm still a little bitter. Anyways, let's move on. We got Matt Stafford and his broken hand, probably jerking off with the other, taking on Jameis Winston and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
What is Stafford's status? He's playing, right?
Yeah, he's gonna play. I wouldn't play him because I think he maybe can get hit and maybe take out, but yeah, he's gonna play.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, I agree. I won't play Stafford, but I'm going to have me some Detroit receivers, and I'll have my exposure to the Detroit pass game through those receivers. Let me take a look at their prices here.
Marvin Jones is like 7,000. Tate's like the same.
Yeah, 7,000 and 6,800 for Tate. Marvin Jones, unless he's, even last week when the Baltimore stud corner went down, he got 8 targets, caught 4 for 90. He's pretty much emerged as the number one guy here. And Tate still gets his 8 to 10. I think Marvin Jones has more touchdown upside, so I'd go there. Who is Stafford's backup? Oh, that gets really ugly. Jake
some weird guy, Rudnick or something, or
yeah. Let me see. Abdullah's status is practice in limited fashion. Like last week, that became the value play of the week on DraftKings, Theo Riddick. I wouldn't go there. It's one of the two Detroit receivers for me, and probably Marvin Jones. And I have zero interest on anything on the Tampa Bay side, and I may be playing the Lions defense this week.
Yeah, I'm kind of pissed off that Doug Martin came back in practice. I would have liked to have had a little Peyton Barber.
Yep.
Because the Lions can be run on. That's the one thing they've been giving up. But now, because Martin's going to come back, they're going to be like, oh, well, we got to give a little bit to Doug because, we got to make sure he's fed. Mm-hmm. When they clearly saw Peyton Barber run the ball well. But no, let's not do that. So, once again, that's crossed them off. I've been hearing some about Cameron Braid again. I could see going there. I could see people going there. I'm not. But they just think that Winston and him have a love affair, which it seems like they do.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then on the other side, I like Marvin Jones. He seems to just almost be matchup proof these days. No matter what, they're just going to keep playing him. So, he's a good cash option.
He destroyed Rhodes on Thanksgiving. So, and they don't have nobody here on Tampa to guard him. So, he's certainly in play. And you could play Tate as well. Like Tampa Bay's terrible against the pass. Either one, it's whoever gets the touchdown and will probably pay off more. They're the same price. So if you were building multiples, I'd probably go like 70-30. What's his name? Not Tate as the 30 and Jones as the 70.
All right, let's go on to the next game. That's kind of a blah. And the next game's kind of a blah, too. Indianapolis Colts taking on Buffalo Bills. We still don't know about Tyrod Taylor. It's the Nate Peterman show. We might want a little bit of this Indy defense. It looks like LaShawn McCoy might be the chalk running back play of the week. At 9,000, I can't pay for that. He hasn't. Has he had a 27-point game all year?
Maybe one.
26.3 was his highest, and he had a 25-point game. So he has not had one 3X game all year with Nate Peterman starting.
Yeah, and the Colts are doing it against the run. It's the pass game, and their cornerbacks are injured where you'd want to take advantage of them. And the Buffalo pass game is probably one of the ugliest spots in the NFL. Kelvin Benjamin practiced fully. I guess you could throw a dart there for 5.9 on FanDuel, but yeah, I don't have any interest at all. I don't really even care for T.Y. Hilton. I don't have interest in Frank Gore. I won't have anything in this game at all.
Yeah, I think honestly I'm gonna have some McCoy just because it's my hedge. We talk about my hedge. Not in cash. No, I'm not. No. No way. But I just don't see anything there where you have to have them. And it's one of those games where
neither of these teams have anything to play for.
Bills defense?
No, they're terrible.
All right. No, okay. All right.
Bills defense is awful.
Yeah. All right.
What's like Frank Gore's price? I wish Frank Gore would get a healthy scratch, and then I'd have interest in Marlon Mack. Frank Gore's 5,500. I'll never play this guy, but he doesn't need. If he gets a one rushing touchdown and his usual 50 yards, he'll get you to value. But no, it's not anything to get excited about anywhere. Nope, I have no interest at all.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Kirk Cousins, Washington Redskins, traveling to Los Angeles to take on Phillip Rivers and my Los Angeles Chargers. Freaking Los Angeles.
Yeah. This is an interesting game. This is one I'm going to spend some more time on. The first thing that would jump out at me, Washington's main weakness is tight end. So, you never know with the Chargers. but I would think you have to give some consideration to Hunter Henry here. Let's see what he did last week.
He did good.
9 targets. Yeah, so Hunter Henry is definitely in play.
Washington. They didn't even raise his. They did not even raise his price.
Yeah,
they raised it $200 from where it was last week.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it. I watched the game. There's 2 passing options for the Chargers right now. There's Keenan Allen and there's Hunter Henry.
Mm-hmm.
They're 7 for 81. The only reason why nobody's talking about him is because he didn't get in the end zone.
Yeah,
7 for 81. I'll take that every day of the week.
Yep. So the Redskins are 14th versus the pass, 23rd versus the run, and the Chargers are 5th versus the pass, 31st versus the run. The Redskins' strength is the pass. I actually think I have some Melvin Gordon interest here. You can run on the Redskins. The Chargers are going to want to win this game. If they can jump on a lead, you might see him get a ton of carries. He is involved in the pass game. He would be like that third guy, and they haven't been doing it a ton of late, but we know that they do like to do that. And the Washington pass defense is pretty solid, so they may need to use him a bit more here. 8,600 is a lot to spend on him, but he does have 2 games over 30 this year, and they were both it was against the NFC East, the Giants. No, I'm sorry, one was against the Giants, one was against Oakland, but I do have some interest there. It's just expensive, but Hunter Henry for sure. And I don't see anything that really excites me on the Redskins. Even Jermaine Crowder is expensive. I would think he'll have the lion's share of targets, but the Chargers are good at the Redskins offensive line is a little beat up. The Chargers pass rush is elite. I think you could even consider the Chargers defense here. The Redskins got crushed by Dallas last week, and they seem to be falling on the wrong side of where you want to be at the end of the year. So maybe the Chargers have a commanding win here. You do Gordon and defense kind of correlation play, or you could play Hunter, but Chargers really the only side I have interest in, but I won't have any of the quarterback for the Chargers. I think they'll get some on the ground and some through the air. So Chargers D and either Gordon or Hunter Henry are really the only spots of interest for me.
I think right now, Phillip Rivers is the safest quarterback on the board on Sunday to get 20 points. I mean, in my opinion, I think 18 to 20 points. I just think that he's been the offense has just been flowing so much better when they've been passing more, and 344, 434, 251. Those are his last 3. I'll take that. If last week he only had 1 touchdown pass. If he has another touchdown pass, he has a great day, and people are talking about him.
Yeah.
When I look up at the top, that's the safest. I mean, you could talk about Wentz or I've already told you about Alex Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And Wilson is not cash game playable this week. So, I mean, who's safer? Is Wentz safer to you?
Probably a tad safer for 500 more. But I agree. As I'm looking down this list in terms of safety for cash, you could go with Phillip Rivers. They're implied for, let's see, it looks like it's going to be
26 points.
6 points.
Almost
so that's
4 touchdowns.
3 or 4. I don't think they're going to do all that on the ground. So you're looking at 1 or 2 for Rivers. Mm-hmm. In tournaments, I think, looking at this quarterback list, you actually could do, if you're playing Henry, you do Rivers and Henry stack. It's a little expensive, but when I stack, I like to have it be all cheap so that I can load up around it. And if the stack goes off, you have a solid floor with the rest of your team. But that makes sense. Or you could take, if you're building 5 teams and you could have a Rivers Hunter team and then a Gordon defense kind of team as well.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. And Washington, Samaje Perine. I've been hearing some things. You can run the ball against Chargers. Crowell didn't do very well last week.
No.
He's just as good as Perine. I think they're about the same. I'm not, the Chargers defense is playing well. The key to this game is the reason why Perine, I think, might be in play is because they know that their offensive line is terrible. They know that they can't protect Cousins off of Ingram and Bosa. So they're going to have to run the ball. So, but I still think there's other options that are better. So, but I like Rivers. Keenan Allen, is that donkey play? No way he's going to keep it up? You didn't say anything about him.
He's expensive, and I prefer the two receivers around him, Hopkins or Green, but you can't ignore the talent. 3 weeks in a row over 20 points, but this is a good pass secondary, and I don't think you could play him. I think it would be tournament only, and like I said, I prefer Green or Hopkins at that same price. But yeah, he's definitely in play. I mean, he's been super impressive. Him and Rivers have a good thing going. So it's definitely in consideration.
Yeah. All right, we got 4 more games to go. A couple of them are interesting. A couple of them aren't very interesting. We got Marcus Mariota and the Tennessee Titans taking on Blaine Gabbert, Larry Fitzgerald, and the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. I'll start with the Arizona side. I played Blaine Gabbert last week with Fitzgerald, and it was one more touchdown short from Blaine Gabbert of working out. He threw 2 picks early against the Rams. That's a good pass secondary. Tennessee's one of the worst. At 6'6", I'll be going back to Blaine Gabbert and pairing him up with Fitzgerald. The Titans are not good at all in the pass game, especially against the slot. Do you know the status on Adrian Peterson?
No, I have not heard anything about that.
It says he's questionable, was held out of practice Thursday, is the 5th consecutive practice he missed. Doesn't seem to offer much encouragement that he'll be available Sunday against the Titans. So if AP is out on DraftKings especially, I could see this being one of my favorite value triple stacks, going with the quarterback, and then going with not Bortles,
Gabbert.
Gabbert, yeah, going with Blaine Gabbert, who's got rush upside, and then making a decision at the running back, either Kerwin Williams, who's very, very cheap, or DJ Foster, who's min priced, had 5 targets last week. If you get an increase there and he gets one into the end zone, he pays off. And then Fitzgerald is like a lock for me. I'd play him in cash. 10 targets, 10 catches last week and a touchdown. And, I see a very similar scenario here. Tennessee is good against the run. They blitz a ton, so it's going to be a lot of short passes. And that's all Larry Fitzgerald. So I like that triple stack a lot. On the flip side, Arizona's run D is pretty solid, so I don't think I'm going to play the roulette with the Tennessee running backs. You figure Corey Davis will probably get locked down by Patrick Peterson, so maybe Rashard Matthews is in play. And, outside of Patrick Peterson, that secondary is not very good. I wish Mariota was a little cheaper. I think he'd be, in play. He ran for a touchdown last week, threw for 1. I got to take a look and see how Arizona is against the tight end, but maybe Delaney Walker's in play too.
Yeah.
Patrick Peterson shutting down Corey Davis. But I do like the Arizona side a lot. They're at home, and Tennessee's defense is bad. I do have a lot of interest in Blaine Fitzgerald and either a Seals Jones or one of those running backs if AP's out.
Yeah, Fitzgerald is a cash game lock for me this week. Hopkins, Fitz, Crabtree. That's just 3 just good cash options. You want to throw in Marvin Jones there too. Those are the 4 top cash options in my opinion this week for receivers. So, Blaine
Gabbert's 4,800 on DraftKings.
Yeah, that's just That's really cheap. It's not. They're not raising his price. I like him. I like that. Do you have any interest in DeMarco Murray?
Like, he'd be the one I'd choose because of the pass game, but let's see what his price is.
He's $6,000 on FanDuel. Some optimizers seem to like him.
He's 4,800 on DraftKings. That is certainly in play. So, I could bring it back in that stack. I could just go Gabbert and Fitz and bring it back with DeMarco. $6K on FanDuel. I mean, we already talked about a couple running backs in that range we like. And, I can't stand the share. Nobody had Derrick Henry last week. He busted that run at the end of the game and made value. It's very hard, and Arizona's good against the run. They're ninth against the rush. I don't see playing DeMarco on FanDuel, but maybe on DraftKings.
Mm-hmm. Cool, for sure. That's for sure play of the day. That's right. All right, let's move on. New York Jets. Josh McCown, Robbie Anderson, Jermaine Kearse, CK's New York Jets flying from the crossroads with the flying elbow off the top rope onto Trevor Siemian and the Denver Broncos.
Let me see what the prices look like. Don't like the Jets after a monster week going into altitude. Broncos defense is not what it was. McCown is $6K on DraftKings. I think he's like 77 on FanDuel. Like you mentioned before, I'd just find the $300 and grab Rivers. He's 76, so $500 to get Rivers. But not going into Denver. The only guy on the Jets I think I'd take a shot on here. We got Talib coming back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's probably going to be locking down. Anderson is Austin Safarian Jenkins. I'd give ASJ a shot. Denver's been pretty bad against the tight end all season long. McCown likes throwing there. And on the other side, I think you could take a shot on Demaryius Thomas. The Jets got past either one of those two receivers, really. But I think I'd go DT on FanDuel with the touchdown upside, and then maybe Sanders on DraftKings. But saw the Jets' pass defense get passed all over last week. So I think you could play a Denver receiver and ASJ on the Jets side. But other than that, I don't have a ton of interest here.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not going to have any shares of this game. ASJ is a good play. Haven't thought about him. You can throw on Denver. Pretty much that's about it. Don't really have much of a read. Defensive has been scoring against this Denver offense. So I guess a contrarian play, I guess, if you wanted to, you could go with the Jets D. But they've been terrible. But Denver's been giving up a lot of points to defenses lately. That's all so neither here nor there. Let's move on. The next two games are a little bit of a talking point, especially the next one.
Okay.
Philadelphia, Carson Wentz taking on Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, and the Los Angeles Rams. Two games, two NFC East teams traveling out west to take on the Los Angeles teams this week. Be interesting. Redskins and Eagles fans in LA the same weekend.
So the line has moved. It opened up as Rams -1. The Rams are now -2.5. The over-under dropped. It opened at 51. It's down to 48. The Rams' pass defense is now 6th in football, and their run defense is 14th. And the Eagles have the second best run defense in football and 13th against the pass. That being said, I think this game's going to shoot out. I do have interest in both quarterbacks. I have interest in the receivers. We'll have to see, the matchups, but I think Cooper Kupp or Watkins are in play here. I would definitely be stacking whichever one of them I play with Goff and then Wentz. And probably I'm going to go with, I'm not going to play Ertz, I don't think, but I think I'd take a shot on either Alshon Jeffrey or Nelson Aguilar. The Philadelphia run game is just a mystery right now. And, if the Rams are going to be up, I think they'll abandon it. same thing on the other side. Like, I just think that for the ownership and the price of Gurley, it's a smarter fade. There's a chance the Eagles take a lead and the Rams have to pass more. The Rams have been passing all year. Gurley could get involved in the pass, but still at that price tag, I think I'd rather play the cheaper pieces because I think it's going to be a higher scoring game and there's going to be points to go around. So I don't see Gurley like putting this game on his shoulders. I'd prefer to have Goff and a receiver.
Who wins this game?
I think the Eagles win.
I think the Eagles go in and win. You know, boy. I think you can play Carson Wentz. That's the only guy that I would be confident playing. I play him naked. And I think Gurley is a good contrarian GPP play, but I think the Eagles are going to shut him down. Mm-hmm. And the receivers, Cooper Kupp out of the slot is going to have a lot of problems. So I'm not really on him. Maybe a little Sammy Watkins, maybe Jared Goff. I think it's going to be, this could be an under.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be an under game, or I could see the Eagles rolling.
Yeah.
Like they got beat last week
in Seattle,
but I could see them. I don't know if they went home this week. I don't know if they went back to Philly or not. They might have stayed. They might have went to LA and practiced in LA all week.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes teams do that. So, and if the Eagles want home field advantage, they got to win this game.
Yeah.
So
no. They're still pretty. The tie with Minnesota. Yeah, I mean, it'd be really good to win this game. They still could get it, but I'm not totally sold on the Rams being as good as they've performed so far. The Eagles, I've fully sold on. Like, I think they're an impressive team with a lot of depth. And like I agree with like you could play him naked in tournaments. I think you got to stack. You could play both Alshon and Aguilar. That was more in play when Ertz was out. Ertz is probably going to play here, so you got to worry about him too. So I don't think I could play both receivers, but I'd maybe build two lineups with Ertz and play one of each receiver here. I mean, the Rams' main cornerback is really short, so both these receivers have some height against them. I really think it's worth taking a shot on one of them. I mean, Aguilar is 6,200 on FanDuel. He got 12 targets last week, 7 catches for $140 and a touchdown. You can play him naked, but I think in tournaments it's better to take a shot to pair him and hope you hit the right one. I don't think it'll kill you, even if, if Wentz is going to do well, he's going to throw a touchdown to one of those receivers, right? Like, it's not just going to be running backs in the tight end. So I think you should stack it, but I'll have to get back to you on Saturday on which receiver.
All right, good. All right, good. Yeah, I'm pretty. I won't have much of this game, but I like Wentz. So let's move on to the last game.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last game of the weekend, it could be a cross-off game if you wanted to. And you want to tell me you cross off this game, and I'd be fine with that. Seattle, Russell Wilson going to Jacksonville to take on Blake Bortles and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, I mean this is a tough game to have a strong opinion on.
Am I right? If you just wanted to cross it out, you could, right?
Yeah. On FanDuel, I think you could play a kicker from either team. Man.
I mean, Russ, like, I don't see him getting more than 20 points this week. And I see him keeping the Jacksonville defense at bay.
They don't
escapes a lot of sacks. So
yeah, I mean, this is a really good. Would you play either the defenses? I mean, I guess you wouldn't play Seattle's, but would you play Jacksonville's?
I would probably play Jacksonville's. Yeah.
See what's their price this week? I mean, they're always
52.
52. The Bills are more expensive than them. That's a fucking joke.
It's crazy. Yeah, that's a joke.
I don't know if I'd pay top dollar for a defense against Russ. Definitely interested in both field goal kickers, that's for sure. And
what about Dede? Break out against Seattle. 5,200.
I wouldn't play Bortles, but he has done much better of late. and maybe you do play one of the receivers. I mean, he threw 35 times for 309 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. That was against the Colts. Let's see if they've played any comparable Ds. I don't know. Let me see the prices on these receivers. I actually I like Lee too. Where's Jacksonville? So we got Lee at 66, Dede at Dede at 52. Got 9 targets last week, 10 the week before. There's probably a touchdown coming soon. Yeah, I'd play Dede. I actually do have interest in Dede and the field goal kickers, and that's it in this game.
Yeah. I'm actually playing Westbrook this week, partly because, especially now, is on my seasonal team. On my one team with Kamara, I need a home run hitter. So I feel like that's a roll of the dice as the guy that could have like a breakout game with against the Seattle secondary, that's banged up. Mm-hmm. He's been bubbling, But yeah, I'm not playing Russ this week. Playing a little bit of Jags D. That's about it. There's just no need to. There's no need to play this game.
Yeah.
I just don't think that oh boy, what won it this week? Oh, you had to have Russ.
Yep. No,
you know what I mean?
I just don't see that.
Yeah. And if it is, I'll lose, but I'll deal with that. So that's gonna do it, Paulie.
Yeah.
For week 14. Be sure to join us on Saturday for the live stream, Wise stream at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 p.m. Pacific, where me and Paulie and G Daddy, Mr. Johnny the Greek, and we'll have Cash, of course. We'll have the quartet going over everything week 14. So anyways, I hope that gives you guys a little bit of insight going into Sunday and going into your DFS week, and hopefully maybe this will help you with your seasonal teams. It is the first week of the playoffs. So anyways, for my man, Paulie D, I am Patio Joe, a.k.a. Audie Folden, and this has been After Hours with Audie, and we are out.
Peace.
Yeah.